live from the Royal Oath Insurance Group right here in Clinton Township, Michigan. Big shout out to the entire team here. Royal Oath is more than just an insurance agent. They're your promise keepers. Whether it's auto, home, business, life, or health insurance, they're here to protect what matters to you most. You can check them out at royaloathinsurance.com or give them a call at 586-238-3535. And of course, today's episode is brought to you in part by our friends at Connection, the CRM built for closers. If you're a real estate agent, entrepreneur, or small business owner looking to automate, follow up, and close more deals and stay top of mind, then Connection is your secret weapon. Go to yourconnection.com and take control of your pipeline today. Now, whether you're tuning in live on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, or X, catching the replay on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, wherever you stream, we're glad you're here. Do me a favor, hit that like button, drop a comment, and share this with a friend, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss an episode. All right, guys, let's get locked in. We've got a powerhouse show lined up today, and if you're in business or real estate or just building something big, this one is for you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Elite Real Estate Podcast on another fabulous Friday morning here. And as everybody can see, I have an in-studio guest today, which always makes it a lot more fun when I have someone in studio. So, Rita Markoz, how are you, my friend? And welcome in.
Thank you. I'm very well. Thanks for having me, James.
Of course. I know a lot of real estate agents are like 7:30.
Actually, I'm up at 5 a.m. every day. This is nothing.
Yeah.
It's like lunchtime for me.
Well, and I appreciate you coming in, right?
Oh.
People can't see it, but you're pregnant right now.
Yes, I am. A little too pregnant.
When is your due date?
June 15th.
So June 15th. So we were cutting it close, but we got you in because we met at Spring Showdown a couple weeks ago.
We did.
And that was a lot of fun. Spring
So
Showdown.
much fun.
Yeah.
Much fun.
A little bit different climbing into a boxing ring.
It's crazy. Like nobody understands. Like it's not your typical scenario when you're speaking to a client.
Right.
You're up there. You got to answer an objection under a minute. You're in front of like 400 plus.
Yeah.
In the audience, I'm not going to lie. I almost threw up, but I had to put my game face on,
That's right. The game face goes on. And then you start to figure out, like, once you get in there, then you got to do it.
You got to do it. You have no choice.
Yeah. So how did you get started in this business? Like, I want to just kind of break this down for everybody of like how long you've been in this business, and because you do a lot of things. And I don't know if people know how much stuff you do.
My problem is, Jimmy, I don't know how to say no. That's my problem. and like sometimes I got to sit back and I got to look at my schedule. I'm like, okay, I'm doing all these things. I really got to set some time aside. So like, I got to really focus on like making money. Right.
Yeah.
But but I love doing things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So previously, let me start with this. I've been in the business for about 8 years.
Okay.
It hasn't been full-time all 8 years. Maybe the last 5 years has been like super full-time, just because within the last 8 years, I've been, I got married in 2017. I had my, first daughter in 2019. So and all my kids I've had them back to back. So I literally been pregnant for the past like 6 years, if you want to say that. So I've always worked throughout my pregnancies. I was a previous teacher. I've been in the education field for about 15 years.
Okay.
I've recently worked for Rochester Community Schools. And as I was doing that, I was always doing this part-time. Like and back then, I was married, I had no kids, so I had all the time in the world. I would work all day, like from 8 to 3, and then I'd do my showings like 4 to, or even if I had showings, I do them after school.
Yeah.
If I didn't have showings, I'd go to the office and I would prospect. So that was my schedule until I had my first child. And then I was supposed to go back to work. My maternity leave was over. I was supposed to go back to work, found out I was pregnant again. So my girls are like 11 months apart. So crazy.
It's funny. Maternity leave was over and now I'm a maternity leave.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. My district was pretty upset with me. They're like, we're paying you for your maternity leave. And now like, you got to do it. I was like, yeah, I can't do it. And it was during COVID. So I went back, I couldn't go back.
Yeah.
So I had to extend my maternity and it was game over from then. And then, and from then, I like would literally sit in my classroom and I would watch people on their social media. And I'm like, man, I was just so used to like 8 to 5 schedule. I'm like, man, I can never do anything during the day. Like I can't even have lunch with my husband. I can't have lunch with friends. I can't do anything during the day because I'm just literally stuck in this 9 to 5,
Right.
schedule. And like I would envy other people, like, oh wow, they're out at lunch or on vacations during the week. I was only able to take vacations during our school vacations. So like it came to a point when I would see people doing showings and it just kind of motivated me. I'm like, wow, maybe this is something like, I'd be into.
Yeah.
And one day during my break, like I called my husband one day. I was like, you know what? No, my husband is Mark. I'm like, Mark, what do you think if I got into? I don't know. I have this really crazy idea. I don't know. I may be crazy. Just shoot me down if I am. But what do you think if I got into real estate? I'd go get my license, maybe do it part time. I don't know. I'm just thinking of things, right? Um,
Thinking out loud.
Thinking out loud. Yeah. He's like, honestly, I think it'd be a great idea. So literally, I'm the type of person that like, if I think of something, I have to do it right away. Because if I dwell on it too long, so many things will go through my head, and I'll
Yeah.
just be like, okay, I changed my mind. So when I got my license, I literally signed up for the class, got my license, and got a job within 30 days. Yeah, took my test, passed it the first
Yeah.
time, got a job with like, within 30 days.
Yep.
And it was game over. And I just loved it. I loved it. I was able to, go get new business outfits. It was just such a different environment,
Yeah.
be myself.
Yeah. And then typically everything we have has mimosas or something in it too, right? So it's like
Right.
we were just talking about the Real Producers event. So I get to go to
Yeah.
these events and then I get to have mimosas in the morning.
Exactly. Exactly. It's super fun, honestly. Aside from that, I think like the whole political part of like education just kind of held me down.
Yeah.
Just the salary part, I feel like I have my master's in education, and it just got to a point in my life like, it was going to take we would, every year we would go up like half a step on like on our salary scale. And I came to realize it was going to take me 20 years to make a salary cap of like 90,000. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is crazy. And then I had my first deal in real estate, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like I wasn't used to that type of money,
Yeah.
especially like, and obviously I didn't go into education for the money. I did it for the passion. I
Sure.
loved it. I love educating people. Right.
Yeah.
Um, so it just came to a point in my life. I'm like, I want to control how much I make.
Yeah. And I think this is the funny thing too. So I know a lot of people. So I was supposed to be a teacher too. So
Oh, I
social
didn't know
studies,
that.
social studies, English. Yeah.
Okay. I'm a history major. Awesome.
Yeah. So, but I feel like there's a lot of us that were in education or were thinking about it, and then nobody ever grows up thinking I'm going to be a real estate agent that I talk to.
No,
Nobody's like,
no,
I can't wait till I become a real estate agent. It's like all of
no,
us back into this career somehow.
absolutely.
But I think that transition though, because you're teaching every day, right? In a school and all, but like that's what you're doing with your clients.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're teaching them and showing them how to get through this process. And it's such a very similar thing,
Very
right?
similar.
That
Yeah.
you're just educating people on. Now you're educating them on a hot water tank and the age of the roof and like all the things that we're learning about houses. And now you're just educating your clients on that.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah.
know?
It's just a different audience.
Yeah, for sure.
Really.
And I think the biggest part of that though is how you take care of your client.
Absolutely.
And that's where you get all your referrals from.
Yeah, and to be honest, in the beginning of my career, I was hesitant about leaving the education field because when I first started in the business, majority of my clients were the parents.
Sure.
So because I teach their kids and they've already trusted me.
Yep.
And till this day, like we just went under contract with one of my clients whose kids I used to teach.
Okay.
It's like amazing.
Yeah.
It's like the second house that they're buying for me.
Yeah.
It's just nice keeping that relationship with them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And I still coach high school basketball. So I've coached high school basketball for 20 years. So it's funny
Nice.
because now I've got some of the kids that I coach coming back to like, coach, I'm buying a house because they're 30 now.
Oh,
You know what
awesome.
I mean? Like, yeah. So but that's interesting because you do build that trust, that
Yeah.
interest. And that's I think that's the key to real estate though.
Oh, 100%.
If you can build that trust with people, they'll refer you.
Absolutely. I don't know how people just go into the business and just go business mind mode. Like you can't. You
Yeah.
can't. And we were talking about it at the Breakfast of Champions, and we were interviewing the top panelists, and we were talking about social media and what they put out there on their content. And I just really touched on like, when people look at your social media, what are like what do they think of when they think of you aside from real estate? Let's just say real estate is out the door.
Yep.
What do they think? What do they think of? Like, are you a blogger? Are you a mother? Are you a mommy blogger? Are you a sports fan? Are you constantly posting about food or books or whatever it is? So I feel like in this business, people really need to connect with you on a personal level. And once you break that barrier, then you can kind of go into the business. You can't do it the other way around,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And you're a mom and you're doing this thing every day. Like, where do you find your balance at? Like, do you find balance?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's one thing I have been struggling with, but I think I just hired a business coach in January, which has really, really helped me, keeping me on my toes, in this business, no matter if you have family or not, you have to be self-disciplined.
Yeah.
It's not a 9 to 5 job, but you have to treat it like one. Right.
Yeah.
And like for me, I think I'm just so used to routine and schedule, especially just coming from the education field, that like and lesson planning,
You're
right?
right.
And if I don't have my schedule down in front of me, if I don't have my routine down, my mind is all over the place. Like, and with me, I have 4 children. I have to be on schedule.
Yeah.
So just really writing it down and following it is really what keeps me going.
Yeah.
Because like as soon as when I'm at home, I'm intentional with my kids. I really try not to bring business. I mean, sometimes yeah, I have to answer phone calls, but I really, really just try to be intentional with my children when I'm at home. And then when I'm at work, it's work mode. Like I barely socialize in the office
Yeah.
because my time is so valuable. I only have 4.5 hours at work before I have to go back and pick up my children. So I'm literally just work mode. I lock myself in my office. I'm working. And I mean, really, it's just really being intentional with your routine and your schedule.
Yeah. You're so spot on with all this stuff. And this is number 5 then.
It is. It is.
So mom, 5 kids, married and killing it in real estate. But I think the point is that 4 hours, right? That 4.5 hours that you get is just super dialed into what you're doing.
Super dialed in,
Yeah.
super laser focused. And I've learned, you know, this past year that you have to leverage your business. We have this mindset like 90% of agents are control freaks, right?
Yeah.
It's really hard to bring in a new hire, a new agent because nobody does it the way that you do. Like I've
Right.
been in the business for 8 years. I'm like, how am I going to have the time to train someone? Right. I just hired my first TC like maybe a month ago. And let me
Because
tell
your coach
you,
told you to hire a TC.
she did. She's like, you have to hire a TC, Rita. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, like, it's been such a relief, and she, another thing she adds to her services is in putting my listings. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is one thing that I don't like to do.
Yeah.
And, and, and like sometimes I'll sit down, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like doing this paperwork. It's taking so much time away from me just lead generating and just making connections with my database.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you, Jimmy, like it's taken so much load off my shoulder. And it's been the greatest thing I've ever done.
Yeah. I have this conversation with agents all the time that I'm coaching. And so like through my coaching too, like we'll see they get to this point of this pain point of, all right, my business is growing. I'm doing pretty good at it. What's my first thing? Is it a TC? Do I bring an agent on? Like what, but you have to figure out what the next step is first. Right. And we all
Yes.
know what none of us are good at.
Yeah.
Paperwork.
Oh, right. I mean, I'm okay with paperwork because I'm the type of person. Again, like coming
That
from the
education
education field,
background.
all my T's have to be crossed, dot my I's. Like we have to do that, right? But like me coming from Keller Williams, we have this Keller Williams model. Gary Keller is the founder of Keller Williams, and we follow this 8-step model. Basically, the way to become a mega team, your very first hire should be either an admin or a transaction coordinator.
Yeah.
People always make this mistake where they're hiring a buyer's agent before a TC.
Yeah.
Okay, you're hiring a buyer's agent, but who's gonna do who's gonna do all the TC work what if
Exactly.
it's a brand new hire? Are you going to teach them how to run the business and do paperwork? No. I think you need to get your ducks in a row first. Hire a transaction coordinator, maybe hire a personal or admin,
Yep.
and then go into hiring help with like a showing agent or, buyer's agent, however you want to structure your team.
Yeah.
And I think that's most crucial because like a lot of people just make that mistake in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And Gary's model, like that, to build a team is the best model to build a team.
The best model.
You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
the model to build a team, because that's where it started. Teams really started with Keller, right? That was
Yeah.
nobody was doing teams before that.
Right.
It was kind of a newer thing back then,
Right.
where it was like, because the brokers always wanted to keep everything to themselves, and Gary was the first one to like let people grow
Yeah.
under them. I started at Keller Williams, so I was a productivity coach at KW Metro.
Oh, okay.
But that model is right. It's like, all right, here's the first thing you need to do, and it's like check marks to your business. Okay, I got from here to here. Now, what if I want to grow from here to the next? What do I need to do? Right,
Yeah.
and it's like, how can I take things off my plate?
Right.
Right, because and again, that's one thing you'll hear all the time. Like, Gogo Bethke talks about this all the time. Is what's my hourly rate? Right? So if you think about how much you made last year and think about what your hourly rate is, right? Divide it by how many hours you worked and figure out what your hourly rate is, you shouldn't be doing anything less than what that rate is.
And it's funny you say that because I was talking to my coach and she literally just calculated my hourly rate. And I was like, wow, and it ended up being like, I think like 200 an hour, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like, wow, I didn't realize how much I'm worth an hour.
Yeah.
And now I think about it. I'm like, do I really want to go show houses that are an hour and a half away? Like I had a client asking me like at 5 o'clock and asked me to go look at a house in Ann Arbor in the next hour. And I'm like, you know that I live 2 hours away, but I don't ever make it seem like it's me.
Yeah.
I'm too busy. I can't make it. I don't ever want to have that image on like my clients. But you're right. Like I think in order to succeed in this business, you have to leverage.
Yeah.
You need help. Like I was at have you been to family reunion in Mega Camp when you were at Keller Williams?
Yeah. So
Okay.
and I did MAPS coaching too.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just came back from family reunion and one of the breakout sessions, it was how to run your solo team as a solo agent and how to run a mega team as a solo agent. And majority of the content oh my gosh, she does millions. And one thing that she does is she has a hire for everything. Someone to do her laundry.
Yeah.
I mean, someone to go grocery shopping for her, someone to put the groceries in her fridge, someone to like clean her house. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I mean, that's great. She's leveraging. And the only thing she has to focus on is just making connections.
Yeah.
Right. And and again, I just feel like you need to find different types of hire where you space more time because your time is very valuable.
Yeah.
Especially with someone, mama four, wanting to spend more time with family.
Right. Because that's not, there's not an hourly rate for that.
No, there isn't. There isn't.
Right. That's not an hourly rate for
Yeah.
that. That's very expensive time.
It is.
Yeah.
It
And it's
is.
very important time. Like, I have two boys and they're 22 and 15. So they're pretty sustainable on their own at this point, I think. Um, but I want to be at the game and I want to show up at the things and I don't want to, that's why I'm big on calendar, right? I'm big on schedule and I put everything in there. My son's game, right? So if he has a game tomorrow at 6 and a client says, I want to go tomorrow, look at 6, I can't. I got an appointment tomorrow at 6 that I can't move. How about we go the next day at 5 or, early in the morning, right?
Yeah.
So, because I want to be there.
Of course.
Right. I worked in corporate America prior to getting into real estate.
Yeah.
I couldn't be there
No.
sometimes, right? Because it was working.
Right. And I can't, and that's what I love about this business is, I volunteer a lot at my kids' schools and I do a lot for them. Like I was part of the daddy daughter committee, which took a lot of my time. Like it was crazy. I'm a room mom. Like it's crazy, but these are the things that I enjoy because I like to be with my kids and I don't want them to miss out on it because time is precious. Right.
Mhm.
And again, if it's like when I'm creating my schedule, that's the first thing I put in my calendar. And these are my non-negotiables. Like if I have something going on with my kids' events, I'm sorry, like I can't be there.
Yeah.
I'll prospect a different time of the day, or I'll pick a Saturday morning and go prospect. Like I just can't.
Yeah. And this is one thing I want to touch on with what you just said. I'll pick a Saturday morning instead of that time, or I'll find another time during the day. that's the important part of the message, right?
Absolutely,
Because
yeah.
you have to do it at some
You
point.
have to make it up. You
Yeah.
have to. You have to set goals for yourself, and I think that's what motivates me. Like when I have a goal, um, and I don't know, I like challenging myself. I've always been someone who challenged myself. I've always been competitive with myself. So when I write my goals down and I'm like, okay, this is my goal. I need to make this many contacts, 2 hours a day. If I don't, if I don't do it on Monday, I have to find somewhere in my schedule to do it.
Yeah.
I have to. Otherwise, I would go home. I'm spending time with family. I wouldn't feel productive that day.
Yeah. Yeah. And what so to kind of circle back a little bit, when you first got into the business, what was that like, that transition from teacher to real estate agent?
Um, you know what? It's crazy. Like I didn't have a hard time learning the business. Like one of my first deals, I connected with a lender. He threw me a deal. It was like $170,000 deal, which was good. I remember it took me 2 hours to write a purchase agreement that day.
Now it takes about 5 minutes,
Oh my
right?
gosh, I do it in my car. Sometimes I'll go show a house, offers will be due in the next hour. I'll literally do it in my car. Like
Yeah.
I always bring my laptop with me.
Yeah.
It takes 2 seconds. Well, yeah, but I remember, but I think just learning the paperwork took me a minute. But other than that, as far as like prospecting, like I remember I got one of my you know, uh first clients, it was a parent, and we ended up buying a house from a FSBO. So it was like my first conversation with like a for sale by owner, and like just learning the business because I was so interested I was all in. It
Yeah.
didn't take me like I'm a quick learner. So, as long as I'm interested in it, I'm a very quick learner. So it
Yeah.
didn't take me, I didn't really have a really hard time transitioning from the education field to real estate just because I was so interested in it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about that too, and I feel like a lot of us, learn the same way too, where it's like, "Just give me the thing, I'll fill it out." Like, I just give me
Yeah.
the stuff, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna like, I don't like, adult learning is completely different than youth learning, right? It's a
Mhm.
completely different thing. We're not good at sitting in a classroom, like, especially with agents that are ADHD and like me that can't sit in a classroom and just
Yeah.
stare at somebody talking to me about contracts. Like, I can't do
No, I get it. It's
that.
funny because like I'm a classroom learner.
Yeah.
Like when I did my real estate, when
Yeah,
I
you
took my real
probably
estate class,
took your class, passed your test.
yeah, and I'm not look, I'll tell you this. I'm be very, very like real with you right now. I am not like with my state test, with my like my teaching state test, it probably took me 3 times to pass it. I will give like I'm really good in the classroom. I'm really like if you give me like an essay, like an assessment where I have to write an essay, I'll succeed in like a second. Give me like a multiple choice test, I suck at it. For some reason, my real estate test, I don't know how, but I think just because I was so drawn into the content, like I passed it my first time,
Yeah.
which was like crazy. I was really shocked. It was crazy to me.
Yeah, it's funny. It's you're right, and I'm not a classroom learner. Like,
Yeah.
like, looking back, I'm 53, so, like, at my age, we didn't know what ADD was. Like, it was just like, "Sit down, shut up." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
it was, but, like, looking back on things, I'm like, I totally was never gonna sit in a class, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't it just
It's not for
it's
everyone.
not. It's
No,
not.
school is definitely not for
Yeah,
everyone.
and I think, like, I'm a hands-on person, right? Like you said,
Same,
like,
yeah.
give me the thing, I'll figure it out. Like, I'll
Mhm.
figure this thing out. And so that's a difficult time sometimes when people first get into the business because you do have to sit down and listen for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, for sure, for sure. Crazy because like, I would leave work from, like I would leave, like, around 4, and then I would drive to my class from 6 to 9. So, I had to take the night class because that was the only time I was able to take it. I mean, it took me about, like, a month and a half, but then, I mean, it was a lot of work because I had to
Yeah,
do, like, my homework in between, but I was just so interested in the content.
yeah,
Like, it motivated me to learn. Like, I'd go home or, like, read in between my breaks or whatnot,
yep.
so it was
But not any different too than, like you said, lesson plans,
yeah,
right? Like, figuring out, all right, what are we doing for the next week? Like, laying everything out.
yes.
And I think that if that's a big thing that I think takeaway for real estate agents to is like, if I plan out what my next week will look like, it's you
Mhm.
can change everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm huge on communication too, just because that was like a number one thing that we had to do with, especially like in the classroom. I'm huge on communication with my clients.
Yeah.
Like I cannot stand it when I'm dealing with an agent on the other side that just does not communicate. It drives me nuts. Like answer your phone. Like And I don't know, maybe it's me just being impatient. Like
No.
when I ask, like when I ask a question, or like I guess I expect a response right away.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel with my clients. Even if they're texting me at 9 o'clock at night, whatever. I mean, I'll text them back right away. I can't keep people waiting
Right.
because I'm
Right.
not like that.
I was trying. I wrote an offer a couple weeks ago for a client, and I wrote the offer, sent it over. So I'm a big communicator. So I'm always on the way to the showing. I text the listing agent like, "Hey, going to show your property, 123 Main Street. I'll let you know when we're done." I get done, and then if right when I'm done, I'm like, "All right, my client's really interested," or like, "Hey, thanks, but we're moving on. We're done. Either I'm writing something or we're not." And so, like, I text, like, then I'll text where, "Hey, I'm heading back home, gonna get you an offer written up. Do you need it tonight? Like, I want to get it in as soon as possible. When are you looking at offers? Blah, blah, blah." So I've already communicated 2, 3 times
You
before
have
I even
to.
put an offer
You
in.
have to.
Yeah, before I even put an offer in. So I had an agent, I put an offer in, same thing, and I was texting with her, and we were negotiating because she had another multiple offer.
Yeah.
It's not shocking that we're in this.
Uh-huh.
She texted me, and I called her, and she didn't answer.
Oh.
I'm like, I know your phone's in your hand. You just texted me. Like, pick up your phone.
Oh, I'm sorry. My phone
Yeah.
is getting blown up. Yeah, don't you hate that?
Yeah. I'm like, just pick up the phone. Like,
Yeah.
now I gotta text this long. I'm like, I could have just told you this in 3 seconds.
Yeah,
Now I gotta text it
I
out
know.
because then I don't want anything in a text to get lost in translation.
100%.
Right. That's why I'm like,
Yeah.
just pick up the phone.
100%. And even just being on the other side, like as a listing agent, when you have all these multiple offers in your mind, I don't know, I I guess as a listing agent, I would, aside from the offer and stuff, I would really look at who am I going to be working with, who's been communicating with me the most, and very transparent,
Yeah.
And I feel like agents like that. If you're huge on communication, you've been communicating with them throughout the entire process, even before your offer is accepted, like you already know how they're going to be with the entire
Yeah.
transaction. So
Yeah. That's the thing. And that's like, as a listing agent, the ones that are communicating with me a lot, that's the one that I want to lean to. I
yes,
want to lean to that offer.
absolutely. And I would
Right?
feel bad saying no to them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, I know this is going to be a smooth transaction.
Uh-huh.
This is going to be a lot easier than this
Yeah.
person that hasn't picked up the freaking phone yet.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I just accepted an offer on one of my listings from an agent that has been communicating with me like maybe 2 days before the house even went on the market.
Yeah.
Like literally all week. And then he ended up giving me a really good offer. And like I felt bad because like he wrote me an offer, and then offers weren't due until like 2 days later, because we had showings, and he was so patient with me. Like luckily he didn't walk away, and we took his offer just because he's been so great
Yeah. Yeah.
in
And it
communicating.
does make it a lot easier, right? To get through the finish line, because we know it's tough to get through the finish line.
It is, and it is, and that's, I think a lot of agents don't realize that, right?
Yeah.
It's really building a relationship with the other side, trying to get to the finish line. Many people in this business don't know how to navigate that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the key to that? I mean, obviously it's communication, right?
Yeah. So I feel like with this business, you need skill, right? A lot of people get into this business, and all they're taught is prospect, lead generate, get business, put your name out there, let everyone know you're a real estate agent,
Yeah.
right? Get business, let your friends and family know. But then they get into the business and they're like, okay, now I got a client. What do I do? I have this offer. What do I do? This inspection came back, and I feel like people are in this business are doing things backwards,
Mm.
right? They're selling a house. They don't know too much about the product. They don't know floors. They don't know, they don't have any product knowledge, from floors to to countertops to the type of foundation. Like how are you selling a house without knowing the product,
Yeah.
right? And how, if an inspection comes back, how are you able to navigate that if your buyer is afraid of mold, right? Like, yeah, first thing comes to mind, oh no, there's mold in the house. We want to walk away. Okay. We need to communicate with our buyers. How are you going to navigate this? Okay. Well, mold isn't a big deal. It's not, I mean, really again, goes back to education.
Yeah.
How are you going to make your buyers feel comfortable enough to stay in the transaction, and really educate them on, okay, don't worry about it. Just put your trust in me. We're going to navigate through this inspection process, and we'll negotiate this. Like, we'll get the sellers to repair these. We'll get the price reduction. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And a lot, if you don't have that skill, I mean, the buyer's going to walk away and the deal's going to fall apart if that agent doesn't know how to handle that transaction.
Right.
And then you get into the appraisal process, right? What if the appraisal falls short? What is your skill? How are you going to navigate that? Are you just gonna, if it falls short, are you just gonna be like, oh, sorry, we're walking away? Or are you gonna be like, well, hold on here. Let's work this out,
Yeah.
And you and I know, like, at times you're 2 days from the closing table. Sometimes it comes down to our commission. Like, if it comes down to our commission where it's going to hold a deal together, you're gonna give up some of your commission just to close this deal.
Yeah.
Right? Especially if it's a deal that's been going on for like 60 days. Like, just want to get over it.
Yeah.
It just gets to that point. And I feel like these are things that a lot of agents lack, is how to navigate through the process.
Yeah. And I think you brought up a couple good points in there. Like, to dig into that is right. Like, I teach a lot of like emotional intelligence, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's like, who do I want to be? What does that person do on a daily basis to get to have what that person has, right? And I think you're right. Like, and we're not saying and advocating to real estate agents that you should know all the products, right? But you should know surface level on things, right? Granite, quartz, right? Like those, you should know the difference between those two
Yeah,
things,
for
right?
sure.
Because there's value there, right? The age of a hot water tank, like the furnace, the roof, like just knowing the age of those things. When do they age out? Like, what am I getting my client into?
Absolutely.
And I think you're right. I don't think a lot of agents take a lot of time to learn that stuff. And my biggest thing for newer agents is I'm like, go to the inspection
Oh,
or
yeah.
go to an inspector and just follow them around and ask questions.
Hmm.
Most inspectors will answer with you, right?
Yeah.
I've had a few that are like, yeah. But for the most part,
Yeah,
you can learn so much going through an inspection.
absolutely. That's how I learned.
Yeah.
Like, my inspector was great in the beginning, and I still use him till this day. Like, I have him for tomorrow, like later today, I have inspection with him later this evening. But, like, just having that knowledge, so when you're speaking to your buyers, you feel confident,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
like, imagine going into surgery and you're asking all these questions, right? Well, what if this happens? What if A, B, and C happens? Like, what are you going to do? And the doctor hesitates. Are you going to want to? Are you going to want to
Yeah.
have open heart surgery with
Right.
him? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Or if he just goes, we'll worry about it when we get in there.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't want to say it's the same thing, same scenario, but it kind of is. Like, you have to trust, you have to show confidence in your
Yeah.
clients and be like, everything's going to be okay.
Yeah. So, what was your learning curve like that at the beginning, right? Like, what was that from hopping in from being a teacher to being a real estate agent? Like, what was it? You obviously going on inspections and learning that, but what was that learning curve like for you to figure out like all the different things for the houses?
You know what? I took Ignite, if you're,
Yep, I
yep.
taught
So,
it.
yep, you taught it. Yep. Yep. I think we all did. So that really helped me, because it helps you, teach you, okay, how to work with buyers, how to work with sellers. And then, I like, I always told myself, if I was a millionaire, I would probably be taking college classes for the rest of my life. Right? I love learning. I love it.
Yeah,
But for me, any class that, like, my brokerage offered at the time, I would take it. I just wanted to really, learn everything that I can, because I really wanted to feel confident. So, I mean, I took an appraisal class, someone that came in teaching about
yep,
appraisals, how to run comps, just like really the basics of real estate.
yeah,
And honestly, I just really wanted to feel confident when I was working with clients. That was like a
yeah,
huge learning curve for me,
yeah,
especially with the inspections.
yeah. Because I mean, again, you don't need to know a lot of it. Like but I growing up, I worked construction, so like
Yeah.
I have an advantage that I worked construction, and
Uh-huh.
then I worked at Quicken, so I did mortgages. So I
Yeah.
kind of got a background on a little bit,
Yeah, for
a
sure.
little bit of all of it, which circles it back to real estate. Um, but and then it's different too working on the luxury side,
Mhm.
right? Because now that's a different product.
Yes.
Then we can sell $170,000 house, or we can sell a $1.7 million house.
Right.
You got to sell those two things differently,
Yeah.
right? You don't treat your clients any different, but
No.
like the knowledge that's expected of what am I buying for 1.7 as opposed to 170,
Oh, yeah.
and getting
Absolutely.
that product in there.
Yeah. And also, even with writing offers, like, what's selling in the area? What is the price per square foot? Like, I love it when a buyer's like, well, what should we offer on this house? I mean, I don't know, what can you afford?
Right.
Well, according to the data, I mean, and I don't just run comps like for my clients. I pull out like the entire the data report where it shows like the percentage of sale, or the percentage of offers that are accepted within the area. So
Got it.
so
Yep.
I look at the percentage. Okay, well, this house accepted 101% over asking. This one accepted 99%. This one accepted 105%. So more than likely, this house is going to go into multiple offers and it's going to go over asking. So just really educating them like on the data
Yeah.
is really going to help you navigate how to write a really successful offer.
Yeah. I'm glad you're saying that, because that's very important for a lot of agents to hear, right? For a lot of agents to hear that part of it, because again, you can just sling an offer together and send it over, right? Like that's not a problem.
Yeah,
We can,
anybody can write an offer,
yeah.
but it's, you know, you have to know how, how to really be creative about it.
Yeah.
Communicating with the agent and how to win it. How are you
Yeah.
going to win that offer?
Yeah.
How are you going to set yourself apart from other offers and other agents
Yep.
to make your buyer look good?
I'll give you my line that I use all the time for the listing agent when I'm on the buy side is,
Uh-huh.
outside of price, what's the most important thing to your client?
Absolutely.
Like, is it occupancy? Is it keeping the lamp? I don't know. Like
Yeah.
what can we throw in here to make this a little
Yeah.
more attractive to you?
Uh-huh.
You know, what makes that hard sometimes is like nothing. Like,
Get to the closing table.
yeah, like
Yeah.
that's nothing. But for the most part, like I try to dig in and find something, right? If we can pay transfer tax, if we can pay like whatever
Yeah.
we can, different stuff we can pay it to figure out to make our deal more sweet.
Right. And I just taught a seller's workshop class like a few weeks ago, and these are things that I touched on. Like, what are buyers looking for these days? What is something, that sellers can offer at
Yeah,
this time that, like I had closed on a property at the end of last year, and it was an investor. He was a real estate agent. He like flips 100 homes a year, and he has this sheet that was attached to the documents. Like, these are things that I have to offer. Like, I can pay for your taxes. I can pay, the HOA fee ahead of time. Like, there's
yeah,
just so many things that he was just to get his property going.
yeah,
And let me tell you, I checked off 10. When I wrote my offer, I got 10 out of 20 out of those things off that list,
yeah,
So it really depends. Like, how are you really going to, make your offer creative? It's funny, 'cause I've seen offers that were like, we'll buy you a large pizza when you move out during moving day. And I'm like, really? Is that
you're
pretty
gonna
creative?
you're gonna spend the extra $20, huh? Yeah.
Right. So
uh,
it's just being creative.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No, I love that, and I think being creative is one thing. Now, what about on the list side, right? Like, what's your education for your client, like on the list side?
Oh, that's like a whole different Uh, it's like, oh my gosh. So I work a lot with expireds and like for sell by owners. And with them, I think it's basically just really navigating through, what do you think your house is really worth?
Mm,
And I'm the type of person, I hate paperwork. I guess you just have to know that type of that person's personality.
yeah,
Like, if you came into my house and you're like, here's datas and graphs and this and that, and I'm like, I don't care. Tell me how much you're gonna make, how much I'm
yeah,
gonna make. That's just my personality, right? But then if I know I'm working with an engineer, oh, I'll bring every single data and
yeah,
graphs and charts, you name it. So going in there and, I like I said, I when I run comps, I don't have a paper full of like paperwork, of a folder full of paperwork with all these comps and folders and all that. I bring my laptop and I do everything live in front of them. I'm like, look, I'm gonna run comps on your house just as of an appraiser would
yeah,
come and do it, and do exactly how they're going to be doing it. I'll run comps, and then I'll really compare their house with the comps, and I'll ask them, if you're a buyer, I mean, which house would you buy? Would you buy yours or would you buy theirs?
mm,
Like, and then we talk about staging, we talk about decluttering, talk about really just getting the home ready for sale to get top dollar for their house.
yeah,
And honestly, like, knock on wood, I've never had issues. I've probably had one issue in my career, like on a low appraisal, and it's because he made a mistake on it. And other than that, I've never really had issues with pricing a house. And usually, like, I play this game with my sellers, like, okay, I'm going to think of a price. You think of a price according to this data that we just discussed. What do you think your house is worth?
yeah,
So I'm going to write this number down. You write this number down, and let's just see if we're close. And usually we're off by like 5 to 10,000.
Yeah.
So I really just educate them. And we're really not that far off on price. And if we're really, really far off on price, it's like gotta have like a come to
Yeah.
Jesus moment,
If they're living in fantasy land, right?
Exactly. Exactly. And you're gonna get those sellers.
Yeah.
And then it's up to you to decide, okay, you want to spend the effort on working with someone who's not motivated.
Mm.
That's just a decision you have to make. And there are agents out there that are like, oh, I'll take an overpriced listing all day.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I take it you won't.
If I know if I have like this seller that's just so adamant, like, no, 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 I won't sell if it's not, I don't have to sell. I mean, I guess it just depends on the scenario,
Yeah.
right? And it depends on like if he's willing to drop the price down, and this is another conversation we have to have.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll price it this high, but there's 3 different pricing options.
Yeah.
We can have this auction pricing, right? Which means we price it really, really low, and you're gonna get buyers in where you get into multiple offers, or we're gonna price it at market value, or we're gonna go over, we're gonna price it, oh, way overprice it. And it's just a conversation we would have to have within the second week on the market.
Yeah.
And then what I did with my seller's workshop class, and I do that with my listing presentations, is okay, let's look at this house. This seller wanted 1.2 million for his house. Let's take a look at how it looks. Let's look at the history, the pricing history. Let's look at the pricing reductions. How many price reductions did they have? What did they end up closing at? How
Yeah.
many days on the market was it? Oh, it was 120 days. So they went from 1.2 and they end up getting 765 on it. Let's look at this
Wow.
house. Let's look at this is real data. Literally, a house in Rochester.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Another one, days on the market, 2 days. They listed it at 750. They end up getting, eight something,
920 or whatever.
920
Yeah.
for it, right? What's let's compare the difference with this. So it's really just asking questions. What do you think? What
Yeah.
do you think? I don't ever go in there and be like, your house is worth this much. This is what we're going to list it at.
Right.
I, I like to look at it like we're a team. Let's come up with a price together.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the other thing is too, it's making them feel like they came up with the price,
Mhm.
right? Like it's making them feel like they came up with the price. And I tell agents all the time that I coach, like when you go to your listing appointment, know what this estimate is, because they already know what it is too.
Oh, yeah.
They already went and looked,
Yeah.
right? And when you can say, "What do you think your house is worth?" They're gonna go, "I don't know." They know.
Oh, yeah.
They already know.
Oh, they already know.
They already know. 100%. They already know. They at least have some sort of thought in mind, right? They have some sort of idea of like what they want to get for it. And I think that it's, again, goes back to the education piece
Mhm.
of educating them, right? Of
Yes.
saying, all right, we can do this here, but no, we're going to sit on the market for a little bit longer, right? If we do it here, we'll be okay. Like we'll get some traffic. If we do it here, we are going to slam this thing,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's one of the biggest things. I just had a conversation with an expired listing this week, and same thing. They had started her house at 254.9, which to me is a weird pricing strategy at 254.9, because you're missing everybody at 250,
Yes.
but you're going 254.9, which you're missing everybody at like 260. You know what I mean?
And that's one thing I mentioned to them too. Like we're missing all these,
Yes.
the buyer pool.
Yeah. And so she had eventually gotten down to 249, right? But it had been on the market for 60 days.
And then, yeah.
Nobody goes and looks at it anymore.
Yeah.
Or they're sending an offer at 230
Yeah.
because it's been on the market for a long time and they think
Right.
you're desperate.
Right. I tell them like first impression is crucial.
Yeah.
Within the first 2 weeks, like if you don't make that first impression on buyers, that's it. You lost that chance.
Yeah. Yep. And
Yeah.
then everybody thinks there's something wrong with the house.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if it's not selling in the first weekend, there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
Which we know there's not.
Yeah.
Right. It just depends on the house and the
Yeah.
thing or whatever else. But I'm finding too, and I don't know if you find this too, but I think where some clients are getting scared off right away because the assumption is it's going over asking anyway.
Yeah.
So if you price it a little bit higher, you're scaring people off right away.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, it goes back to the education. Like, how are you educating them?
Yeah.
Right. It's not just, okay, get this listing. What do you do next?
Right.
What do you do?
Put a sign in the yard and have an
Right,
open house,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
What is what's your marketing for a listing? Like if you were to get a listing today, what would be your marketing plans?
Um, so I do things a little bit different. And again, like I really just try to find a different way to, a different nugget that I learn every year that I can just add in my business. Like, aside from open houses and my marketing campaigns, my reverse prospecting, I do a lot of, expires and FISBOs. So I buyer and seller match. So I mean, obviously if I have a listing and I'm prospecting for another listing and they're, if I have a listing in Rochester and I'm prospecting in Sterling Heights and my Sterling Heights seller wants to buy a house in Rochester, I've just matched that.
Mm,
So that's like my way of when I'm calling expires, like, hey, look, I have this other house that I'm listing. Why don't we list your house? And maybe I can get you in, but before it hits the market. Let's
yeah,
do that. So it's really just thinking outside of the box,
yeah,
right? I do a lot of handwritten notes. Like I hire someone to do my handwritten notes for me, kind of like farming the neighborhood.
yeah,
So I've done that. I've done like 3 different ones where I did one like a coming soon, and then I did it. I would do a second round of like, hey, home went into multiple offers, and I would do a third round of, hey, your home, this your neighbor's house just sold for this much.
yeah.
So it's a lot of handwritten notes, a lot of just really matching buyers with sellers. Aside from all the social media stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I know the social media thing is it's interesting.
Mhm.
We were talking about that a little bit before the show started, right?
Yeah.
About social media, and I think there's a lot of imposter syndrome, right? People are like, oh, that this person's doing this and that, but are they really doing that?
Right. Right.
Yeah, or do they just look like they're doing that,
Uh-huh.
right? And I think there's a lot of that going on out there. Like, what's your feel on social media for agents?
Um, I mean obviously social media is key, right? And now that AI is
Yeah,
in place, I think we should really utilize it. I've been taking a lot of like content classes on AI, and one thing I learned is you have to utilize it.
yeah,
Because eventually people are not, it's replacing Google. And if like, for example, if you're trying to list a house, like, okay, who's the best real estate agent that I can list with in Macomb Township? My name doesn't pop up, then your AI doesn't know you. So you
right.
have to train your AI the way you want it to be trained. And that means posting on social media, um, just creating content out there, just really, training your AI to get to know you. So when someone else tries to figure out who's the best agent in the area, your name's going to be the first
Yeah,
one to pop up.
yeah. And that's the other thing is because clients are going to social media,
They are.
right? They are going
Yeah.
to social media. I was doing a text campaign in my CRM the other day, and they hit me back and said, where can I find you on Instagram?" And I said, "Sure." I sent them
Uh-huh.
texted them my stuff on Instagram
Yeah.
because they wanted to go see if I was a real business,
Uh-huh.
right? Like that was and I don't blame people because we're
We do the
te-
same thing.
we're texting, we're emailing, like we're trying to just get business, right?
Yeah.
Just like any other business is.
Uh-huh.
And then but you have to build that trust
Yeah,
because they
you
want to
do.
see if you're that real person or not.
Oh yeah.
And like you
Uh-huh.
said with AI now, and I was at UWM yesterday for UWM
Yeah.
Live, and I don't know if you were there or not,
I wasn't. No,
but
I missed it.
one thing Matt Ishbia said was like AI, it's like electricity. It's here to stay.
It is.
It's not going nowhere.
No, it's not.
And it's only getting better. Right. So, and I've been in a pretty deep dive with AI for about 2 years now.
Uh-huh.
It does. I have it do so much for me.
Oh yeah.
Building websites, all the things it does. It does so much for me.
It's amazing. It's like
Yeah.
our little assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even for the show, I looked up who Joe Rogan's producer was. His name
Uh-huh.
is Young Jamie.
Uh-huh.
So I've trained a section in my AI to be Young Jamie, the producer for Joe Rogan's podcast, and he produces all the stuff for me.
I love it. I love it. So much leverage.
Yeah.
And I've considered hiring a virtual assistant, but now I'm like, what do I need one for if I can just
You can
use
build
AI?
one.
100%.
Yeah, you can build a VA
Leverage.
and I use Claude. That's what
Yeah.
I use. I switched over from chat to Claude,
Yeah.
and it's mind blowing, because it does so much for me. But
Yeah.
it's wild.
Yeah. Oh no, it is. I just took a AI class with Lauren Lucas. She's a KW. realtor. I think she's from Washington. Oh my gosh, and she taught herself just from YouTube.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. You can learn so much. And again, it goes back to some of the things we just have to do it. Right. And it's like just jumping in and doing it.
Uh-huh.
You can't be afraid of it.
No,
You know,
no.
I talked to some of my first contract that I wrote, my first purchase agreement that I wrote a 10-day inspection period and a 10-day review period.
Oh,
It's because I didn't know what I just wrote 10 and 10. So
okay.
I got it accepted.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Yeah. My very first contract I ever wrote, because nobody told me anything. I just
Yeah.
wrote it.
Yeah.
And and then, I was trying to think, like, I wanted to do it on my own.
Uh-huh.
So I was just trying to think, all right, I'm trying to think back to test and everything else. Like, what do I write? I always said, I'll just write 10 and 10.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But I got the offer accepted.
There you go.
We didn't take 10 days to return it, but
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. That's awesome.
but yeah, I had no idea what I was doing, but I did it anyway.
Told you it took me two hours to write my first purchase agreement.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to make sure, oh my God, in real estate class, they teach you, you do this, you have the real estate police after you. So you want to make sure you don't get caught.
Yeah.
Right. Want to make sure you do everything
Yeah.
the right way.
Let me ask you a question. So what's changed in our business the last couple of years is that after the NAR lawsuit
Yeah.
and everything that happened, what's it? Have you had any trouble like buyer agency, getting people to sign buyer agency?
I mean, I have and I haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I don't know. I guess I do things a little bit differently. I I don't like to pressure people. Like for me, I like to build the rapport, and
Yeah.
once we build it, like okay, then they're comfortable. They're comfortable with signing. Like all I worked with Zillow and Realtor.com
Right.
for 6 years. Can you imagine you get a call like, oh, well, I can't show you this house unless you have a buyer agency. They're like, okay, they're gonna hang up on you and go back to the listing and click contact agent. And it's gonna reroute to another agent.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we were trained back then. I guess before the whole NAR was like,
Yeah, that was
huge.
different.
Like, don't ask for a buyer agency right away.
Yeah. No, remember all we did was to get buyer agency. So the buyer agency purchase agreement, it all got signed at one time.
Yeah.
Back then.
Exactly. And now, like with showings, you can't schedule a showing without a buyer agency agreement.
Yeah.
So I mean, sometimes I kind of use that tactic, right?
Yeah.
Or sometimes like I'll show them
Blame
the
my
first
broker.
house, right? Blame my broker. I'd show them like maybe 1 or 2 houses, and then at that point, I'm like, okay, well, by law, like we have to have this sign.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have an issue, sometimes I don't. I mean, it is what it is. You can't force people to sign.
You can't. But and I think it just goes back to what you said too, but it's about everything else. It's the education piece.
Yeah.
Right. And our broker with EXP that like Nick Coppola said, he's like, could you imagine? He goes, you guys have to start thinking about this differently. He said, could you imagine going to a listing appointment and not bringing a listing agreement with you? Like going to a listing appointment and not bringing a listing agreement?
Right.
He goes, you're going to a buyer's presentation and you're not bringing a buyer's agreement with you.
Yeah.
He goes, you got to think about that a little different.
It's funny to go back to touch on that buyer's agency agreement. I just closed on a house where the buyer agency agreement saved me.
See? Yeah.
And it was, oh my gosh. I'm just happy it was.
That was an eye roll and a deep breath right there.
Yeah. It was a crazy train. I'm just happy it closed.
Yeah.
Like at one point, like they wanted to use another realtor for no reason.
Yeah.
Like nothing happened. And usually if someone says they want to use a different realtor, I'm like, that's fine. Go ahead. You don't want to work with me. You don't want to work with
me.
Like, but it just came to the point, like I was working with these people for like 2-3 years, ghosted me, came back 2 years later, got an updated pre-approval, showed them houses, wrote offers. I wrote 2 offers in multiple offer situations, got them accepted just for them to back out. So I've done a lot of work with these people just for them to be like, oh, my brother met a realtor at the gym. We're going to use him. Like straight up. That was the reason. That was the reason. I was like, you know what? No. I was like, we have a buyer agency agreement. In order for you to break it, you and I need to meet and figure out what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a language barrier there, so I don't think they fully understood, why.
Sure.
But I'm like, no. And they're like, well, this other agent has been showing us houses, and we also have a buyer agency agreement with him. I was like, well, that's irrelevant because you signed mine on February 22nd, ends on August 22nd because I do them for 6 months. I was like, so if he wants to come after me, he can contact my broker. And our broker, like KW, they will stand by your side when it comes to commission stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So they just ended up sticking with me.
Yeah.
I got him a house. We just
Yeah.
closed.
It's interesting because it's a big thing, right? Like the NAR, everybody was upset about it, right? Obviously, there was a lot of whatever happened with NAR and
Mhm.
everything, but it does end up like now it's like saving people,
It
right?
is. It
People are
is.
now are like, no, but I hated it, but it saved me.
Yeah. I'm having more issues on the list side with the whole NAR situation. Like, are you having
Yeah,
like,
I don't have to pay
oh
the buyer.
yeah. I'm like, you don't have to
Right.
pay anything,
Yeah.
but you want your house to sell.
Yep.
You know, like oh my gosh, I had a for sale by owner. It was my neighbor across the street. Never met him, but he, I was following up with him for like 6 months. He ended up calling me to list his house. I go there and I turned down a $750,000 listing. I turned it down. He was my neighbor across the street. I was like, at first I was going to take it just to use it as leverage for marketing and farming my neighborhood.
Yeah.
But then it came to a point I'm like, he wanted me to work for 1%. He
Yep.
wanted to do a total of 3%.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, okay, so you want me to take one? I was like, so what if I get you the buyer? He's like, oh, I'll give you two. I was like, oh, so you'll give me an extra percent if I bring you a buyer? He would let it's just crazy because he's willing to pay a buyer's agent too, and I'm going to be doing all this work for only one.
Right.
So I call him like, I'm sorry, I can't.
Yeah.
I'm not taking your listing. When it comes to like
Yeah.
money,
Well,
commission,
that's one of the things I had, and I told a client one time. I went to the listing appointment. We're talking about everything, and the first thing she said was like, "Oh, great, I don't have to pay the buyer's agent." I'm like, "Well, you never really did.
yeah,
Commissions have always been negotiable. It's kind of how this has
uh-huh,
always worked out."
yeah,
And I went through the whole thing, and I said, "What we can do," I said, "if you don't want to pay that 3%, we'll list your house for 3% less than what we're going to
yes,
list it for."
mm-hmm,
Oh, I don't want to do that. I'm like, right.
right.
We don't want to do that.
So what I do is when I bring comps, I'm like, well, I called everything because now we, before commissions used to be displayed, right? Before
Yeah.
this whole NAR thing. So now what I do is when I print out my comps report, I'm like, well, according to these that sold in your area that went over asking, all these sellers offered a 3% commission.
Yeah.
So these comps are based off of 3% commission that was offered to the buyer, to the
Yeah.
buyer's agent. So based on your house, this is what it's going to be worth if you were to offer the 3%.
Yeah. And sometimes it goes back to the education piece though, right? If
Mhm.
you're not educating your clients, because when I went through that with a couple of my clients, they didn't their assumption was that they were going to have to pay the 3% on top after the offer,
Mm,
right? Like if like the offer was 350, they thought they were going to pay 3% above 350,
got it.
right? And I'm
Yeah.
like, no, that's not it all. It's all encompassing. It's all in
Yeah.
one. Oh, and they didn't. They really just didn't know that. But it's
Yeah.
hard because people don't know how we work, right? For the
Uh-huh.
most part, so they just assume that we just willy nilly this out here and like,
Like this listing that I just had, I just got under contract a couple of days ago. He only wanted to do 5. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? I got to the point like I'm tired of negotiating my commission. I'm like, I'm not taking less than 3. Like I'm doing all this work for you. You want to pay the buyer's agent too? I mean, the buyer's agent can at this point
no, yep,
they can negotiate their own commission. I'm tired of negotiating other agents' commission, right?
yeah,
So he's like, I'm like, well, let's do this. We'll keep it at 6. What if I were to get you an over asking offer? He's like, if you gave me an over asking offer, we'll pay up to 6. But again, that's something you have to write in the contract,
right,
right? Like it's up to 6, but depending on the offer, we'll that it's all part of negotiations.
yep,
I mean, I got him 25 over asking. He ended up paying the 6, the full 6.
yeah,
So, I mean, it's how, again, it goes back to your skill. How are you going to navigate that conversation?
yeah,
Right?
yep, yep. We got a couple minutes left. What's your biggest piece of advice to an agent that's starting today?
I would say surround yourself by a really, really great mentor, someone who's been in the business for a while. It's going to be a lot of hand holding in the beginning. Really, really indulge your education on as much as you can. Learn skill. Set time on the side, put in your calendar, set your calendar, and do a lot of skill building
Yeah,
before you go out and start talking to people so you can feel confident.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. Build that confidence up.
Yes. I
Build
would
that
say that
confidence
would
up.
be best advice before you start getting business.
And where can everybody find you?
You,
Social media.
you can find me on social media, Rita Markoz Real Estate, Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook.
Instagram, Facebook. Find her out
Yes.
there, Rita. thank you for coming in and
Thank you
joining
so
us
much,
today.
Jimmy. I appreciate it.
Yes, we got again the in studio guests are unbeatable, right? So
Thank you.
when you're in studio, I appreciate you coming in and sharing your time with us this morning. I know you've got the 4 kids to get home to. Take the
Well, they're at school.
take
Two of them are at
the
school.
5th one home with you.
Right.
So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for joining us this week on the Elite Real Estate Podcast. We'll be back next week, same time, same channel, but you can find us wherever you find podcast, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts, and also on YouTube at the Elite Edge Network on YouTube. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. Take it easy. We will see you next week.